Goals are important. Goals are what drive us to do things in anything in life, from our jobs to our education to our own relationships. One of the main functions of a video game is a goal. And that's probably why you play video games, to complete a goal like saving the princess or killing Russians or becoming a guitar legend. Even games like Minecraft that don't necessarily have a goal still have something to motivate you, such as your own desire to build a huge castle or survive the monsters that come out at night. But what if a game doesn't have a goal? This is what comes to mind when I think of Animal Crossing, a game I dipped my feet into once or twice before but lost interest after a bit because I couldn't find a particular goal for myself. Sure, there's the idea that your goal is to move in and upgrade your house and other areas around town, but why? I mean, I have multiple friends who would cite Animal Crossing as their favorite series, and they've played it for hundreds of hours too. But why? In order to understand this, I wanted to take a month or so to completely immerse myself within the world of Animal Crossing in order to answer the question of, what is the point? I want this to be more of a case study than a review, so instead of splitting this into the usual aspects of presentation, gameplay, and story, I think I'm just going to look at 3 aspects that allow me to understand the point much more. This being the game itself, the lifestyle the game provides, and the experience of playing the game. If you know nothing about Animal Crossing, allow me to give you a breakdown. In 2002, Animal Crossing, or Animal Parade, came out in Canada for the GameCube, and much like its sequels within the series, it's all about a human moving into a new town filled with anthropomorphic animals, and that's it. That's all there is for a story. There have been many Animal Crossing games, so I am doing this quote-unquote case study on Animal Crossing New Leaf for the 3DS, as it is widely considered to be the best game in the series, and it's, as of the release of this video, the most recent game in the series. With that being said, let's talk about the game a little bit. Oh, and finally, before we fully get into this, you may notice that the background music isn't Animal Crossing music. This is because after watching so many videos on the point of the game, I have, much like I imagine you have, heard the same songs being played in these YouTube videos. So in order to avoid boring your ears, I'm going to play different songs that have similar energy to the Animal Crossing music. Anyways, without further ado,
I see you at the movies. I see you with your lipstick on. I'm looking out for.
So as far as games go, Animal Crossing stands out not only for its lack of a clear goal, but also for its interesting art style that defines the series. The game has a bubbly UI that feels welcoming and relaxed, which is where the art style mainly lies. This is also where the gameplay lies. You begin your game on a train ride with another character, and he'll ask you a few questions about where you're going, and in this time, you can name yourself and the town you'll be living in, along with choosing a general layout of the town. He'll also ask a few more questions, and your response to these questions will determine how you look and how your character is dressed. Unfortunately, I couldn't enjoy the way my character's face looked even after multiple resets with different answers, as they all look oddly strange. Either way, you eventually get off the train and you're welcomed by the residents of the town, and they seem to think that you're the mayor. No matter what you say, they ultimately thrust you into the position, and this position gives you great opportunities for town projects that you can work on. Your first task is to buy a house, though you have no money, and with that, the main gameplay loop is introduced. Go out, collect some seashells and fruit in order to sell to the pawn shop within town, and eventually you can buy a shovel in order to dig up fossils and gems on top of buying a fishing rod that can be used to fish in the bodies of water in and around town. So to boil it down, this gameplay loop is go out, get goods such as bugs, fish, seashells, fossils, gems, and so on, head to the pawn shop, sell it all, and profit. But what do you use your money for? Well, remember how I mentioned you're moving into the town? Well, you don't necessarily have a house yet. You instead have to get one made by the real estate agent Tom Nook, who will begin building a house for the down payment of 10,000 bells, which is the game's currency system. Fortunately, while you save for that, Nook gives you a tent to sleep in for the time being. This is my goal for the game at this point. Get a nice house and furnish it with items bought from the different shops around town. And for God's sakes, get myself some new clothes. The shops in this game change stock every day, which adds some nice decision making, as you might just have enough bells to put a down payment on your next house upgrade, but those new pants are to die for. Now, I didn't cover everything you can do, such as checking the rocks around town for gold that change every day, and the floating gifts that can be shot down using a slingshot, but one thing I do want to talk about is the characters and your neighbors within the town, who you will spend most of your time with. Characters all look pretty interesting, and as though they were humans trapped in an animal's body. You can get a decent idea of what each character is about just by looking at them, as the athletic animal will often be wearing sweatbands and other athletic clothing, or the motherly figure will always have her child with her. Talking to characters is reasonably interesting, as they have conversations that allow you to learn more about them, and nearly all of them are pretty cute. You can even help out the characters like Blabbers, who is a night owl that runs a museum within town. Since he's a night owl, he's very tired during the day, but you can talk to him and get him to identify any fossils you bring in, and he'll accept donations to put them on display. It was nice seeing the things I donated fill the walls, and he's an example of how things change through your interactions. Characters will leave town if you're mean to them, and shops will go into renovations once you spent enough money there. Connecting with locals is a huge part of being a good mayor, and it'll be integral to obtain funding for your many city goals such as building a new bridge or adding a lamppost. Characters even have birthdays that you can attend along with providing gifts for, and if you miss it, they may not be too happy with you. Building new bridges and buildings for your town are not the only things you can do as mayor though. You can do everything from changing the flag of the town to the musical chime that plays periodically through the day, and speaking of music, I might as well discuss it. The music is pretty relaxing while also having some fun tunes mixed in, offering a diverse range of music you can listen to even outside of the game when you want to get into your zen. Each character has their own music or spin on the town chime from earlier that allows their personality to shine through even more. As mayor, you have a few different tasks set in front of you as your short-term goals, with your long-term goals being centered around making the town much better along with having the people's approval. Your first task that is set in front of you is to get a house. Not too bad, you might spend a few days paying off the loan, and once you have it, you can begin your mayor duties. Unfortunately, the next task set in front of you is the task of earning the people's approval. This is done by contributing to the community, whether it be through picking weeds out of the ground, talking to people just to chat, or donating to the local museum, and of course, spending money. These beginning tasks force you to get out there and ease yourself into the lifestyle that the game is clearly built around. Now that is essentially the basic gist of the game, and any other cool details are left out because they fall more into the lifestyle and experience portions of this video. So with that, we should move onward into the type of lifestyle that a game like this offers. The lifestyle that I've talked about up to this point is best described as taking care of a plant. Now, let me explain that a little bit. What I mean is that it's not something that can be done in a day. If you have a game like Mario, you can blast through it in a day, or hell, maybe even in a few hours. Though with Animal Crossing, the point is that it takes time and it can't be sped up. Unless you change your clock, you filthy cheater. The way I played it was I would sit down at the beginning or end of my day, take an hour or so to talk to people, do some fishing, look around town for the money rock, and so on. You get into this habit of working on the town just a little bit every day, and this is the best way to play it in my opinion. Fortunately, the town isn't the only thing you work on, as the inhabitants of, in my case, New Bork, are what you find to be the most entertaining. Building these relationships with your neighbors is integral to not only the progression of the game, but to your own enjoyment of the game. Initially, the conversations with your neighbors are useful, while not too interesting, as a lot of them just give you tips such as making sure to buy tools like a fishing rod and a shovel, so that you can fish and dig up fossils, or to make sure that you save before you quit your game, and so on. Though as your time in New Bork goes on, new characters will start popping up. People will start asking favors and they'll start giving gifts too. These, like everything else, start out pretty small, such as Isabelle giving you some wallpaper to spruce up your house, but they'll eventually expand to even better gifts. Playing a game like this really made me appreciate the little things. I found that while the big things in games and even life are important, it's also important to appreciate the short but fun interactions with the people you meet. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that Animal Crossing is the key to peace and tranquility, no. I'm just saying that it can help you de-stress after a long day. I made the plant comparison earlier because of the progress that growing a plant and growing a pocket-sized town entails, which is not a lot and not very fast. You get into this lifestyle where almost every day you stop for a moment and work on the town, and while yes, it is a goal that you want to get towards, you don't necessarily have to. You can choose to just talk to people or just buy yourself some new clothes, and you don't always have to be on your way to the next down payment on your house. I think the point of Animal Crossing is as simple as just relaxing. You're meant to just play the game for a little bit to unwind with some clever dialogue and fun interactions while shaking trees for money and catching bugs to donate them to the museum. Okay, so now that I've sung all this game's praises, I need to get something off my chest and give my personal opinion on the game. I don't really like Animal Crossing. I just find it boring. The characters all come across as one note and frankly boring, not to mention how they put their houses in the worst fucking places. And everything costs so much. You want to expand your house? That'll be hundreds of thousands and eventually millions of dollars. Want to build a bridge? Pretty simple, I'm sure it won't cost too much. Nope, get fucked! It is $200,000! Meanwhile, I'm sitting here making fucking pennies by the hour breaking rocks unless I break the game itself by going to the fucking islands and spending 2 hours catching bugs for fuck's sakes. It's so mind-numbing. You know what 3 hours in Animal Crossing gets you? You make your room a little bigger, get a shit ceremony for your bridge that costs a fortune. Oh, but Aqua, that's not the point of the game. You're supposed to talk to people. Why? So I can listen to a sparrow talk about how he's the strongest dickhead in town, or listen to fuckface Savannah who put her house directly in front of town hall? You know what's cooler and more fun than talking to a fucking duck? Shooting out the sun in Skyrim, man! Fuck! Sorry, but I was originally going to put 30 days into Animal Crossing to get an idea of what it's really all about, but I just can't play it anymore. It's so draining. I guess I should elaborate more. The characters in Animal Crossing bore me to no end because they're all so one note. Sure, they all have their own quirks and insecurities, but they're all surface level, and you know just about everything about them in the first 3 conversations you have with them. Every interaction after that just involves getting something for them or putting a time capsule in the ground. These interactions just seem to lead you to making your friend happy, and maybe if you're lucky you'll get an ugly t-shirt out of it. The only genuine fun I had was when a character, whose name I can't even remember because the characters are so forgettable to me, asked me what her new nickname for me should be. Seeing an opportunity to make this character sound like my comment section, I let her call me Gay Boy at every turn. Other than that, you act less as friends and more as neighbors, which may have been what Animal Crossing was going for, but nonetheless, I'm not a fan. Playing something like Animal Crossing made me appreciate Animal Crossing's big sisters like Harvest Moon and Stardew Valley. And these games turn Animal Crossing's flaws into straight up deal breakers. Now, in my personal opinion, which I guess it's a little late to say it now, but this entire video is my opinion, the thing that Animal Crossing lacks is a general routine. Sure, you have a routine such as walking around hitting rocks and catching fish, but I mean an actual routine. Some sort of mandatory mayor activity would work great for adding some form to Animal Crossing's days, such as the way the farming works in Stardew Valley. Another thing Stardew Valley does much better than Animal Crossing is the people. Each person has their own personality in Stardew, with layers that you uncover as you hang out with them more and more and give them more gifts. You start to notice that the things you do in Stardew are so similar to Animal Crossing, like talking to these people, giving them gifts, and doing favors for them, but the difference is the reward. In Stardew Valley, you get rewarded for becoming better friends with people, with exclusive cutscenes as well as special interactions and relationships. In Animal Crossing, you just get a chair, or something you'll probably throw out anyways. I feel bad. I feel like I'm overthinking a simple game that just wants you to chill out, but ultimately, I play video games in order to drag myself away from the monotonous and mundane tasks and concerns of my life, not continue them in a virtual world. I'm even finding that writing the script is difficult due to how tired I am of this game. I don't want this to come across as me shitting on the game, because it's honestly just my opinion, and I will never knock you for disagreeing, and in fact, I would like to encourage discussion surrounding this, as I want to know what makes this game click for you if it does. I think I genuinely found out the point. The goal that you give Animal Crossing is whatever you want, however, its goal for you is relaxation, and I personally think that it misses the mark in that case. If you enjoy Animal Crossing, fucking A, man, that's awesome. But it's not for me, and I really wish it was. I'd just really quickly like to say that I appreciate you guys for making it to the end of the video, and I stream on twitch.tv/thatboyaqua, so you can go follow me there, and I also have a Patreon in the description that you can go to and find weekly updates, highlights, blooper reels, raw footage, and so much more. So go check it out, and I'll see you guys later.